Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this edition of Swarm. We're happy to have with us in her second year now, the principal here at Beech Grove, Mrs. Liz Walters. And second year, rookie stripes are off, if you can allow me to use a racing term. So let's do, first of all, a comparison, just how you feel now as compared to 1 year ago.
Well, I think now it's definitely a little bit more of controlled chaos. With starting 10 years before the school year started last year, I was so thankful to everyone because there was a little bit of a honeymoon period and just simple things like learning names, getting around the building for the first time and getting acclimated. But obviously still with the start of every school year, there's a lot that goes into it. So there was a little bit of chaos during that time. We still have the start of a school year. It's always going to be a little bit fun and exciting from day to day, but now I feel it's a little bit more controlled because at least I know everyone's name.
And you can say all of that in the midst of a massive renovation and construction campaign.
Yes. Well, again, thanks need to go out for that because that's certainly not a one-man effort by any means. So many people put, their heart and soul into this building over the summer, getting everything finished and getting us ready to go. And people being so understanding of that, just having 7 weeks really to get all of those things finished. Yes, there was definitely controlled chaos there, but thankfully students showed up the first day because that, I think, is the worst problem we could have had. So kids came and we were ready to go. Yeah,
and in terms of the construction, the progress down there, it's just been amazing what they've been able to accomplish over the summer. And I think it will, the result will be twofold. First of all, we're going to get badly needed expansion, badly needed space, especially for the folks in our music department. But more than anything else, when people come here for events, especially inside the building, I think that lobby is going to cause a lot of people to say, wow.
It is. It's very welcoming. It's sort of that open concept to highlight all of the things that we have to offer. So it'll be absolutely beautiful.
Well, just in time for this expansion and renovation here at Beech Grove, it comes at a time when we're celebrating our 100th anniversary. And I'm sure the Alumni Association very involved, but what is your goal in terms of raising awareness among the student body in conjunction with the 100th anniversary of Beech Grove High School?
Yes, so we really talked about, as we were in the planning phases at the end of last school year, the idea of holding one really big ceremony just to either kick off the year or end the year. But we decided on sort of trickling the 100-year celebration throughout the year. So we have a few things that will be in place. Homecoming, prom, those sort of big events, our yearbook and our newspaper. I know a lot of stories are going to come out of Swarmed Crew as well. We want to trickle that throughout the year to highlight a lot of those things. One tiny thing that we're going to do at big events, it seems small, but it's actually kind of fun. I've done a few myself already, is to just announce a fun fact from our history. So we started out our opening day actually highlighting the fact that when we started as a high school in 1917, we had 2 teachers here. So
we've grown a bit.
We have grown a bit. Yeah. We introduced the district new teachers, and then here at the high school alone, as students and staff have seen, we have probably triple, quadruple that many just new teachers, not to mention all the teachers we have coming back. So.
And all throughout the course of the year, we'll tie this in with athletics. We'll bring back some of the more memorable teams that have had a fair amount of success here at Beech Grove over the years. And one thing's for sure, this community supports the school corporation. We've seen that not only in terms of their attendance and their involvement in the various programs. We saw it at the ballot box a little over a year ago with the referendums. And I think this is just another step in joining with people like Mayor Dennis Buckley to kind of intertwine this community with the school corporation.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're excited. The final thing that we might do, that we will do, we're just waiting on Jostens to give us back sort of an emblem to celebrate that for the year. So we hope that will be distributed on a lot of our social media. I will invite staff, once we have it, to include that on their sort of email to kind of spread the word as some of those natural communications come out. So I'm excited to see it.
I'm Mark Jane. Again, our guest is, of course, our principal, Mrs. Liz Walters here at Beech Grove High School. We're talking just about some things in terms of the community. Now we want to turn the conversation more towards the educational aspect. Let's talk about I Succeed. It continues to be a work in progress. What was the postmortem like on I Succeed from last year, and how did you kind of morph that into maybe changing the focus a little bit for this school year?
Well, students probably have felt it the most, having been in the educational system, starting in kindergarten. Every year, they probably feel that their focus is heavily on math and English. It's heavily on that content instruction. We did that in education because a number of years ago with No Child Left Behind, they said we have to do that. So we did. The pendulum has shifted back a little bit, which I really appreciate and I'm really excited about, because learning, sort of the experience of school, especially at high school, is not just about content. It's not just about going from math to English to social studies to your electives. You learn those things, but what school really is about is the social, emotional learning. It's how we learn to exist as adults, how we decide we're going to contribute to society, what decisions we make that are going to impact the people around us. So that was the vision of I Succeed. As you said, it's in progress. We started, I think, after 9 weeks of last school year. So we're still building that for students. But the whole purpose this year is to really start out with I Succeed at the beginning of the year to roll out this idea of a community of learners. We want to have conversations in I Succeed that are not about just content, just math and science and English and social studies. We want to have conversations about self-awareness, about social responsibility, about decision-making for students, all those things that go into becoming an adult, being able to make those decisions, to be productive, to be good for yourself, and then to be good for the people around you. So I Succeed on Mondays and Wednesdays. We want to have those dedicated meetings. So that was one change for this year. We want 2 days a week where we have those conversations in I Succeed. That curriculum will be rolling out. We just had 2 days this week that we had some of those conversations, and they'll continue to come.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting aspects about I Succeed, the goal is that you talk about fostering relationships and building relationships. A freshman has an I Succeed teacher. They'll have that same I Succeed teacher all 4 years.
Yes, ideally for most students, it's that cohort mentality that you'll be with the same students and teacher for those 4 years. The beauty of that, too, is that freshman is going to learn quite a bit from the seniors in the room. Students who are able to speak to, here's what my 3 to 4 years have looked like here. Here's what I've been involved with that you might really be interested in. Having those conversations can be really powerful. For a number of students, I Succeeds do have to change. We do have scheduling, things that come up. But that's the idea for most kids.
So lastly, the construction project, renovation project we talked about that's visible even to folks who just drive through the parking lot. But there's a pretty major change inside the building, the change in the media center to a collaboration center. So how's that being received? First of all, I think it looks marvelous. It really does. It's very cool. But kind of give an overview of that process and the thinking behind it.
Sure. Well, when we originally started the conversation, it was specifically about using space that we have here because we did ask our community for financial support, before. We didn't want to do that again too quickly, so we couldn't build. We couldn't build out. So that original conversation was utilizing the old space, the old media center, for some non-traditional programming there. So I didn't want to lose our media center. I didn't want to lose the power of that space and the collection for the students. So we moved it up to pretty much the best place we had to offer, which was the rooms 207 and 209 upstairs. Very large space with that classroom component still attached to it. I just want to take a moment and absolutely give a shout out to Mrs. Sharon Shockey and Miss Ann Cantor, because honestly, that space could not be more beautiful. It really, Berger and Shockey, I can't imagine the work that they put into it, and it is fantastic. But the new brand, the new idea of the Collaboration Center is that students can go and collaborate. It's not, solely a research space for the collection. It's not just sort of the media aspect. It is a space where we want students to congregate, to collaborate. So we have beautiful tables up there. If you haven't seen them, definitely check them out. But students can take their Chromebooks and sort of plug in to the monitors, and in a shared space, be able to all sort of access different, mediums at a different time. So it's lovely. I'm excited. The two new people up there, Ms. Schmidt and Ms. Bowman, have hit the ground running really as new staff, and they're really excited to carry on the tradition of what we have done, in addition to, starting to make it their own. So
This might be the longest we've got you to sit still since you've been here. So
I appreciate it. I'm just going to come down here all the
yeah,
time.
absolutely. Well, we're going to have you back on a regular basis. We're going to do it monthly. But again, the only silly question to you is the one that is not asked. So emails, phone calls, whatever. You're very receptive.
Absolutely, anytime.
Okay, we appreciate it. Thanks very much for watching Swarm today. As always, it's a great day to be a Hornet.